Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your August 2017 mid-month readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. As always, thank you for all your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your support, feedback, and comments. Keep them coming. Thank you to those of you who continue to reach out for personal one-on-one readings and to my regular clients as well. And if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading, you can click, and you haven't read with me before, you can click on the little about or description button on my YouTube channel's homepage for more information and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do a wide variety of readings, and I do readings full time, 5 to 6 days a week. So turnaround time is usually pretty quick because it's what I do. I'm usually able to get back with you within the first day or so with information, and we can usually set up a reading anywhere between a few days, upwards of 2 weeks, but almost always within a 2 week period of time, we can almost always schedule something for you. So if you're interested, send me an email and we will go from there. Make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well, because these are general readings and there's many of you watching. So of course they're not going to mean the same thing, resonate the same to the same degree and intensity for everyone watching. Your rising or your moon sign videos may play out a little more predictably for you than your sun sign video at this time. And just by watching all three, if you know them and if you can, will give you additional insight and clarification into what's going on in your life during the time frame that the reading covers, time being somewhat fluid, of course. So we're looking at the last half of August rather than the month entire. So I'm going to be pulling two cards for each of the last two remaining weeks, with an additional fifth card from the bottom of the deck for overall energy and guidance. This reading is for the air sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, the water bearers, for August 2017 mid-month. So Aquarius, we have the Eight of Cups, followed by the Seven of Swords. We have the Eight of Pentacles, followed by the Seven of Cups. And for your overall crowning card from the bottom of the deck, or overall energy and guidance, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Of course, what area of your life it manifests in is going to vary depending on what Aquarius you are. There's many of you watching, but the energy, as I always say, fundamentally remains the same. Looks like for a lot of you, this is going to be in the career, work, job, financial section of your life, or maybe a project of some kind. For others of you, you can apply the same energy to other areas of your life. It could be relationships, spirituality as well. But I'm feeling strongest first and foremost, it's more about something more tangible and concrete, like job, work, career, something perhaps you've been working at for quite some time and just feel kind of done with or tired for the time being. So we begin with the Eight of Cups, followed by the Seven of Swords. So the Eight of Cups, water energy, this is a card about walking away, leaving something behind you, leaving it behind because you're disillusioned, disappointed, or perhaps it's just maybe it served you well for a while, but it's run its course, it's done, it's no longer bringing you joy and fulfillment. You may have been under a certain impression in the beginning, but it's turned out to be something different or disappointing, not what you really wanted. The cups on the ground behind this man represent what it is. And the implication with them, some of them upright and full, some of them tipped over and spilled out, is that he's tasted and drunk from most, if not all, of these cups. And while he may have thought they were what he wanted, or he may have thought they were going to turn out a certain way, at the end, it's just not working out, and he's leaving them behind. It's not a card about do I or don't I so much. He looks like he's pretty definitive about leaving whatever this represents behind him. He's dressed for travel. He's surveying the horizon. May not be entirely sure which direction he goes, but he knows that he's leaving something behind, or there's a very strong sense of wanting to walk away and leave something behind you around the middle of August or so, although this has probably been playing out for a while for a lot of you Aquarians. Now, the Eight of Cups is paired with the Seven of Swords. Air energy here, which is the element which governs this suit, more mental, cerebral energy. The Seven of Swords is sometimes referred to as the thief card, and that can be in a negative or positive sense. It really kind of depends on the context. Sometimes it can represent needing to be kind of off the grid or secretive or unorthodox about how you go about doing things. The thief sometimes gets a bad rap, but sometimes it does represent being stolen from, either in a very tangible sense like money, finances, property, resources, etc. Sometimes in relationships, this can represent represent being in a relationship where you feel maybe you're being taken advantage of or exploited. You're giving and not being, and the other person is taking and not really giving anything back. So you're left feeling depleted, exploited, taken advantage of. There is an underlying kind of fundamental energy of deceit, slipperiness with this, things not always being what they appear to be or are presented to be, someone or a situation being presented to be one thing when in fact the reality is something completely different. And there's a sense of wanting to leave this behind, wanting to walk away. For some of you, you are wanting to, or perhaps even making plans, or perhaps are in the middle of leaving something behind or walking away. And the Seven of Swords represents needing to keep mum about it, needing to play your cards close to your chest, maybe not talking to people about the fact that you're wanting to leave, planning to leave, or in the process of leaving. For some of you, it can represent that as well. Others of you, it's wanting to leave something behind because you feel you've been cheated, robbed, lied to, or deceived somehow. Now, for a lot of you, this has something to do with work, job, career, or perhaps even a project. Others of you, you can translate it to other areas of your life if it fits too. This is just what I'm feeling, channeling the majority of. And I say that because next we go into the energy of the Eight of Pentacles, followed by the Seven of Cups. So the Eight of Pentacles, what I call the worker bee card. Pentacles is earth energy. That's the element which governs the suit. And in the tarot, the suit usually manifests in the tangible things we can see and touch and feel in the day-to-day concrete world we live in. It's often things like money, finances, job, resources, property, etc. Although you can apply that energy to emotions, relationships, spirituality, to tangible results of the invisible efforts we put into things. The Eight of Pentacles is a card about working hard, dedication, determination, perseverance, getting up early, staying up late, maybe putting in a lot of actual overtime at your job. Maybe some of you have been burning the candle at both ends. Why? Because you have a goal, a vision, something that you're working towards. Tens represent completion. We're already at the 8 here. He's built up a good, solid, stable foundation for himself because of the level of dedication, perseverance, work, repetition, a lot of hard work. And so for some of you, this sense of, some of you I'm kind of getting, it's as if you have a job, you're on a career path, and you've been working with certain goals in mind, short-term goals and long-term goals. You've been working very hard. Some of you working very hard specifically at something. You may have been working for a promotion, a certain position, something of that sort, maybe heading up a certain project of some kind, and you put in a lot of work, time, dedication, and you were very open and honest about what you wanted, and it feels like maybe somebody's taken it away from you at the last minute or given it to somebody else, and there's this sense of almost a betrayal in the workplace. As if, what am I staying here for? What have I been working for? What have I been putting all this time and effort into if I'm not going to, get anywhere, if it's not going to be rewarded, if it's not going to be recognized? Some of you, there's this sense of just, perhaps things have turned out in your job or on your career path differently than what you thought. Maybe you feel like you've been deceived. Things have turned out a little differently, or you've actually been deceived. Maybe you were promised things that were not delivered. There's a sense of being exploited or taken advantage of, and this is indeed, in fact, what you want to leave behind and what some of you may be planning to or in the process of leaving behind and being very quiet about it. Others of you, it's just kind of in the turning around stage in your head, considering a lot of options as to what to do if I leave, or what am I going to, what are my options here, because the Eight of Pentacles is paired with the Seven of Cups, water energy here, more emotional energy. The Seven of Cups is a card that can represent having a lot of different options. It can also represent fantasy, distraction, illusion, daydreaming, pipe dreams, thinking of a lot of different things that could be possible, but they're not actually all reality-based or practical. So there is cautionary advice into being focused, intentional, and making sure that whatever you choose is actually realistic, achievable, and works for you. Each one of these 7 cups is filled with basically what represents potential, but they're all beautiful. They're all perfect, almost impossibly beautiful and perfect. So again, it could represent daydreaming, distraction, fantasy. So for some of you, you haven't left whatever this is behind yet, but you want to, you're considering it, you're maybe fantasizing about it, daydreaming about it, thinking what your options might be. Make sure that before you make any final decisions, choose something, set anything into motion, that what you're choosing has been thought out, kind of planned for. Don't quit your job unless you have another one to go to, unless you have a lot of savings to kind of survive on. Just be focused and practical and intentional about what your options are before you do anything definitive about leaving or walking away. Make sure that you have kind of the groundwork laid out and that you've thought everything through very carefully. Also this message is also echoed in your overall crowning card, your overall energy and guidance, which is the Seven of Pentacles, which is a card of reflection and assessment and contemplation. It's harvest time on this card. Harvest time for you, meaning it's kind of, you're at a place where, okay, this is the harvest, this is what I've been working for, and this is what I've gotten so far. Is it worth continuing to invest in? Have I gotten at least as much back as I put in? Have I gotten more? Am I moving towards my goals? It feels like a lot of you maybe are thinking you're not getting what you've invested into it. Is it worth continuing to invest in? Can I make some changes and stay and continue to do this? Should I just take what I can and go? Should I plant another crop the next season? It's a card of looking at what you have so far versus the energy that you've put into what you've invested in it, and making a decision whether it's worth continuing or whether you need to leave or make changes somehow. But the overall energy is about being thoughtful and kind of thinking things through and making sure that any changes you make, any new beginnings, any endings, that you've thought them out, and that you have a practical, good options that you're going to be acting on. We don't want to be too impulsive or spontaneous here, but it does look like a lot of you are unhappy or disappointed or disillusioned or just kind of fed up and done with something. Probably job, work, career. It could be a project of some kind. But again, as I said, it could also be a long-term relationship or marriage or something of that sort as well. So it's basically just, it looks like the last half of August, Aquarius, is just about kind of taking a look at what you've put into something, what you've invested in it, what your efforts have gleaned. What do you currently have? Do you feel like it weighs even with what you've been doing? And if not, can you make changes and stay, or do you need to separate yourself from it completely? And if so, what are your options? What are your realistic, practical options? And just kind of spending the last couple of weeks of August kind of looking at that, thinking about that, contemplating that, maybe asking for some help and guidance as well. So Aquarius, that pretty much sums up your August 2017 mid-month readings. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope it brought you a little bit of insight and food for thought, because that's why we do these readings. Again, if any of you are interested in a more personal one-on-one reading, you can click on the About or Description button on my YouTube channel's homepage for more information, and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com if you haven't worked with me before. I would be most happy to work with you. And those of you, of course, who have worked with me before, you should probably still have the information. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all again shortly. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life, Aquarius. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.